Welcome back to the Life Outside podcast, where we share stories from outside to hopefully inspire you to get outside as well. My name is Cam Bostock, and on this episode, I chat to Hursh Dodhia-Shah. Hursh is a seasoned adventurer and entrepreneur, passionate about both climbing big mountains and building impactful companies. Alongside myself, he's the co-founder of Optiventure, the first supplementation and nutrition company specifically dedicated to outdoor adventurers. Hursh shares experiences from life-changing mountaineering expeditions to Kilimanjaro and the Himalayas, and tells the story of how Optiventure was born. We hope you enjoy. Before we get into it, make sure to follow the show and leave us a 5-star review. Thank you for all the support. You guys are amazing. Let's get into this week's episode. G'day, mate.
How are you?
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, mate. It's actually so good to be here.
Yeah, bloody oath. We've been sitting next to each other in our beautiful Optiventure headquarters for the last...
Alcata Field of Dreams.
Yeah, last year or so. Mm-hmm. It's good to finally officially sit down for a chat on the Life Outside podcast. Welcome.
Yeah, man. I'm actually, really excited to be here.
Bloody Officially, yeah. We've talked plenty off camera, but this should be a bit of fun. For those who don't know Hursh, he is the co-founder of Optiventure, which is the outdoor nutrition company that we created together, which is super exciting. But also, Hursh is just like, you're one of the most stoked people I've ever met, both in the office but also outdoors. You know, we've done a lot of pretty wild adventures together, which I'm sure we'll chat about over the next hour or so. But whenever you're outside, it's just you're just like one with the mountains, one with the trail, and that's really inspiring to me. I love it. What is it about being outside to you that is just like so magical?
I think for me it is, I would say my number one passion in life is business. I just absolutely love business, but business is just so all-consuming that my mind is just consistently just racing with just like ideas and thoughts and visions and like different things that I want to kind of bring out. And the very first time I went out on like a multi-day trip was the first time that I had like just instant, just complete mental, just silence. And it was just the most like life-changing experience of my entire life, just 6 days on the Bibman track. And from there, it just kind of became this thing where I was just like, the more time that I spend outdoors and chasing big adventures, like the more my mind and like, I guess my soul just get a chance just to like completely shut off and slow down and like heal and like process everything that's kind of going on. And yeah, it just like, it's just ultimate presence, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like it's where I feel the most present, and like, I mean, the rest of my life is pretty amazing, but almost unburdened by just anything else. Mm-hmm. It's a completely different world. Like you enter a brand new vortex. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to find that a lot of the time in the city, at home, especially in the office. Like I feel like, we spend a lot of time in here behind the laptops, and we both love it. You especially, obviously, grinding away, building companies and that kind of stuff. But there is something about being outside that, like you said, it's just like you're actually present in your environment. There's no distractions. There's no technology. There's no people, pulling you left, right, and forward and backward. It's like you can just be there with your own thoughts and just appreciate this incredible place, this 100%. Incredible earth. And you have like this affinity with the mountains. We met like a month before heading out on like a huge expedition to Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. Yeah, we could probably tell the story of how we met, because it was only a couple of years ago, and now we're building a company together, which is crazy. But
yeah. Just the way that life works.
A mutual friend of ours who also is in this office space with us, building a different company, Lockie, just invited us out to like a run, like a group run at Jacob's Ladder here in Perth, and that was the first time we met.
Yeah, that was once again. So I mean, taking all the way back, I remember the first time that I did the Bibman track, you were actually on the bib track for the first time doing your big end-to-end.
That's true. We were on the bib track at this exact same time, well before we knew each other.
Well
this
before,
2021.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we would have just missed each other, but one of our now good mutual friends that I was hiking with, Jenny, at the time, she ran into you at some stage during that expedition. I remember hike.
Yeah,
whatever you call it. But yeah, as soon as we got off the track, that's when on Instagram there was a bit of chatter in like, the niche world of like multi-day hiking and through hiking and that kind of thing, that these like, two crazy guys like Cam and Macca were doing the whole track in like 20 days. So I was like, oh wow, like I was literally just on there, started following the journey, and yeah, it turns out we were on there the exact same time. But we never really had any interactions. I think I was like DMing you a few times on Instagram, just like with a bit of encouragement. I was trying to come see you guys at the end, but I think something happened that day, which meant I couldn't make it. And then literally a year and a half, actually, yeah, like about a year and a half later, our mutual friend Lockie invited us for a morning session. And then he just said, oh, my friend Cam is going to come. And I was like, yeah, cool, no worries, whatever. Didn't realize it was you. And then when you rocked up, I was like, oh, shit, it's Cam from like the Bibman track. And then, just the chat that we had during the workout and the run and the stair session, which quickly turned into a coffee afterwards, which like at the end of that coffee was just like, hey, I'm climbing Kilimanjaro for my 30th birthday. Like, I would love
in
it
like
if you,
2 months.
Yeah, less than 2 months. Like, I'd love it if you came. And then from there, it's just been like one thing after another.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing I love about it is like, it's such an important part of your life and like an obsession when it just like, when the level of everything just snowballs so quickly. Like I went from my first multi-day hike to a 35-day expedition in the Himalayas, trying to summit like 3 mountains with Amadablam in the space of less than 2 years, which is just like such a like crazy like ascension up like the different adventure levels that it only happens if you just like absolutely love something and get obsessed with it.
I mean, it was the same for me because the Bibbulmun track was my first big hike.
Yeah.
Before that, the only overnight hikes I'd ever done were like a couple of training hikes for the Bibbulmun track end to end, which we spent 3 weeks on that trail. And exactly like you said, I just fell in love with it instantly. I was like, through hiking is my thing now. And 2 years later, I walked, across the entire country of New Zealand, and then a year later, the entire country of the US on these other big trails, and it just like snowballed so fast, and now it's my entire life.
Yeah.
It's so funny though, looking back to that when we were both on the bib track in 2021 and how things come full circle, because as we're recording this, in like 3 weeks, Macca, who I walked the bib track with, is attempting the Bibbulmun track FKT, like the fastest known time, which is just crazy. Like, to think back 4 years, me and Macca had just met. We just met on Instagram and like, let's walk the bib track together. 5 years later, he's doing all these crazy things. And like, even Jenny, who you met on the bib track, I've just come back from Europe where I hiked this big trail with Jenny just through meeting her because of our friendship and
our time in Tasmania as well. Yeah.
And yeah, we all hiked in Tasmania. It's just it's crazy to look back on the last couple of years, which have just been a bloody whirlwind.
Yeah, it's very like, I feel like the adventure world is like very, very, very big because you've got the whole world, but it's also very, very, very small because like, you just run into so many people of the same energy, of the same character, of the same mindset, and like everyone's just chasing like, just, I wouldn't even say like, it's not even a feeling. It's just like, it's just complete presence and like oneness with everything. Yeah.
I think the adventure space is especially on like trails and mountains and big through hiking trails, is pretty small in Perth as well. Like a lot of people in Perth just love the beach and that kind of stuff, and maybe like road trips. But as far as like through hiking, it's not huge here.
No, yeah, it's not at all.
So I think it was probably destiny that we all sort of crossed paths at some point.
Yeah,
the few of us that enjoy running the bib track in 9 days, like Macca or Jenny going off and climbing crazy mountains in Europe, and yourself who's just addicted to the big mountains in the Himalaya and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it was always kind of meant to be.
Yeah, I think, and also it's funny because like everyone's got their own like adventure blueprint. Like I feel like you're just like a trail hiker and a through hiker, just like through and through. And like I obviously really appreciate through hiking and multi-day hiking and that kind of thing. But for me, yeah, it's the big mountains. Like I've just never felt as like spiritually at home as I did in the Himalayas when we were there for those 35 days. It was just like every day there was just like this deep sense of just something just like stirring in my soul. And I was just like, I have to return here just time and time and time again, like consistently. And it's just, it's something about mountains, whether it's like snowboarding or climbing or mountaineering or just like hiking near them. It's just like that's kind of like my blueprint sort of thing.
Yeah. Mountains just have a presence about them, don't they?
Yeah.
And then when you start climbing or walking amongst the biggest mountains in the world, like the Himalaya, I couldn't count on both hands how many times you were talking about like, how spiritual it really felt being amongst those mountains, and you were giving the mountains tenders and auras and all kinds of stuff out there. Like you just really just felt at home, which is it's cool to be around people who appreciate nature that much and find such a sort of like almost connection with mountains or trees or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like I
yeah.
have that with long trails as well.
Yeah.
And I love a diverse range of landscapes and that kind of stuff. But the mountains are pretty special. Let's go back to Kili. So 2021, no,
End of 2022.
2022.
Sorry, beginning of 2023.
Yeah, we met end of 2022.
Yes, yeah.
You asked me to come on Kili in a couple months. I was like, I'll just check with the wife. Kara said yes, as she always does. And we just ended up in Tanzania together in January 2023.
Yes.
January 2023. And your plan was to climb Kilimanjaro for your 30th birthday, summit on
Yes.
your 30th birthday. Maybe bring us back to your childhood, because you grew up in Kenya.
Yes,
You
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
you came to Australia when you were pretty young, but
Yeah.
that is your home, the Kenyan Tanzanian region. You've climbed mountains
Yeah.
there before.
Yeah, so I obviously, well, I was actually born in the UK, but like, you know, my parents we're like third or fourth generation like Kenyan Indians. So like, you know, our family like migrated over to Kenya like many, many, many generations ago. And yeah, there's always just been like a very big sense of adventure in the family. Like my whole dad's side of the family are just like crazy adventurers. You know, my auntie's like a ultra runner, ultra racer, mountain climber, like everything. Like dad had like a lot of like mountain expeditions and that kind of thing, obviously when he was younger. And we did like a lot of camping and like a lot of hiking and that sort of stuff when we were like kids. So we moved to Australia when I was like just before I turned 10 years old. And I mean, obviously that was like, because I had a fairly as established of a life as you can as a 10-year-old kind of in Kenya. And so when we sort of moved over here, I felt like really lost for the first like, you know, few weeks and months. And then like very quickly just like, you know, found myself in Perth and started absolutely loving it. And now like, you know, we just celebrated 23 years of being here actually, like a couple of days ago basically. But yeah, so that adventure background that we had, like that always sort of stayed with me. We did a big family trip back when I was 15 years old and we hiked Mount Kenya, which is actually a tougher climb than Kilimanjaro by...
Yeah, the summit's like pretty hectic, right?
Yeah, so we didn't do the technical summit, but we did Point Lenana, which is like the 5,000 meter summit. But even just the scramble and the climb up to even Point Lenana is actually more difficult than Kili. And yeah, as like a 15-year-old, like summiting Mount Kenya was, it was an incredible experience. Like it was just so brutal and just so challenging. I remember just going like, I don't feel any pain in my body, but I'm just numb. But I just feel this internal pain of the pressure of like altitude and like no oxygen. Like it was just this weird feeling that I can't even describe. But then it's like this, I just vividly remember the second we got to the summit, it was like, I think 4:30 a.m. We stuck around for like 10, 15 minutes. And then like the sun just like cracked through the clouds. And just seeing the sun crack through the clouds when you're above all the clouds, I just remember this feeling like in my body just going, oh my God, this is insane. And then just like every feeling of like fatigue and tiredness and like that internal, like, you know, the pain of like climbing at altitude just like dissipated. And it was this like just incredibly empowering, like amazing experience, which then quickly returned to pain like on the way down again as well. But it was just like, you know, everything was worth it for that one moment. And then after coming back to Australia, I think it was, whether it was finishing high school, going to university, then like starting my first business, that kind of thing, it just, I wouldn't say forgot, but it just, I was just so busy doing all these other things that it was literally like, I think 12 or 13 years after that experience that I actually like reconnected with like my outdoor adventure self and like went on the bib track for the first time, because like my younger brother Kush is super adventurous and he'd just come back off it as well. And from what he got out of it, I was just like, that's something that I have to experience for myself. And then, yeah, like, you know, ever since that moment, it just reignited this huge part of my soul that like obviously has been missing this entire time. And it just kind of, you know, shows in all the crazy adventures and all the things that we're kind of doing now.
Unreal.
But yeah.
Can you see Mount Kilimanjaro from top of Mount Kenya? Or is it too far away?
I don't think you can, no. Well, actually, to be honest, I'm not too sure because it was fairly cloudy on the day that we basically summited to Mount Kenya, from what I remember. So I don't think I could see Kili. But it was just an incredible view, like nonetheless kind of thing.
Yeah, it kind of, it makes a lot of sense that I don't know if this was planned, but summiting Kili on your 30th birthday, 15 years after you summited Mount Kenya, like a double experience in life, double the age.
Yeah.
Kind of lined up pretty well.
I think it was just because I'd reconnected with that adventure part of myself. I was like, I'm massive on, I don't know, I'm not big on goal setting, but I'm massive just on like intentions and like bringing to that like energy that you want to bring into the next decade or the next year. And like turning 30 is like, I mean, every age is an amazing milestone, but like turning 30 was a very special milestone. So I was just like, if I can like go back home, I mean, obviously I grew up in Kenya. Tanzania is like right next door. It's like, but it still kind of feels like home. It's like if I can go back home and like stand like at the highest point of Africa or like at the top of the world, like at home kind of thing on my 30th birthday, that's such a strong and powerful
It's pretty
intention
sick.
for everything that I want to bring into the next decade
Yeah.
of my life. So I actually made that decision at the very beginning of the year. But again, I had no idea how it was all going to come together. I was like, I will go and literally do it myself if I have to.
But if you bring the boys, all the better.
Yeah, 100%. But it's just like one of those things where I set that goal at the beginning of like, when I turned 29, I was like at 30, I'm going to summit Kili. And the way that it all came together with like all of you guys, and it was like, my younger brother Kush was there as like my best mate. All of you guys were all like new friends. And the way that it came together was just like so perfect beyond like my wildest dreams as to how epic my 30th birthday would basically be. I was just like, just set the goal. Don't worry about how it's going to come about and just move in that direction and everything is just going to work out. But yeah, it was a tough climb. It wasn't very technical, but just the altitude, man.
It's a high mountain.
It's a very high mountain, and the ascending of it as well. Like, there's some days we will ascend like 500, 600 meters of elevation gain, which is obviously faster than recommended because the terrain's not like super technical, but the altitude, man, just got to us. Like, we all summited, but that summit day was brutal.
Yeah. So we spent 6 days getting to the highest camp before summit day.
Yeah.
And we had a group of, what was it, 6?
There's 6 of us, yeah.
6 of us, yeah. And we all made it to that point. Like you said, the hiking's pretty relaxed, and it's just the altitude that sort of gets you. I think we were all feeling it over those 6 days.
100%.
And then we woke up at midnight on summit day, and it was just like the final push.
Yeah.
Let's relive that.
Yeah.
I remember that was the first time I'd ever been at altitude. I'm trying to think the highest point I'd ever been before we went to Kili. It would have been like 2,000 meters or something.
Probably Buff Knoll.
Yeah, it's like something in Australia. And Kili's a tad under 6,000 meters.
Like right on
So
5,895.
I'd never experienced before. I mean, you'd done Mount Kenya, so you'd been up sort of that high before, not for a long time.
But not for a long time, yeah.
But most of our group were all pretty fresh to altitude, and we had no idea what to expect on summer day.
Yeah, it was so, and also, I mean, we're both from Perth, so Perth is like the definition of just like living on sea level.
Yeah.
There's like there's certain spots where my Garmin says I'm like at like -5 meters, so I'm literally like below the ocean.
101% oxygen.
Yeah, exactly. So training for it over here is like there's only so much you can do. You just have to get like as cardio fit as you possibly could to allow your like, I guess, the oxygen in your red blood cells in your blood to be able to multiply like as fast as possible. But I mean, even given all that, like the best way to acclimatize for altitude is just to very slowly ascend into more and more and more altitude. Obviously, it was such a fun time, but at Kili you ascend very quickly,
Very fast.
and yeah, waking up at midnight, no one sleeps the night before. Like, I mean, if we had Optiventure back then, maybe, but shameless plug.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one obviously sleeps the night before. So you wake up at midnight, and it's just, I think the energy and the camaraderie we had as a group was amazing. Like, I've just never been around a crew that's that fired up at midnight when it's freezing cold, and there was a bit of snow coming down and that kind of thing, and we're just like doing the footy bumps and getting each other like super pumped up and like yelling and screaming.
We had to just
like,
will the excitement into existence.
Yeah.
I think I remember feeling so crap when I woke up.
Yeah, exactly.
But having like you and Kush and Koe, like you guys are just like full of enthusiasm at the worst of times.
Because I think we it was like 4,900 meters where that campsite was, so it's a very 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 high place to sleep.
Yeah.
And then it was just one foot in front of the other all the way to the summit. But I just remember there was the higher I went, and like, because the first, I guess, 6-7 hours until it hits like 6 a.m. in the morning is like pitch black, so you don't really know where you're going, how far you've made it. And I think that's obviously by design as well, because it can be so demotivating for people, like looking up and just being
up
like
that scree field,
up the scree field where it's just like grey and scree, and it's just so like, it's so difficult, and like every step is like step, and then like take 3 heavy breaths, step, take 3 heavy breaths, and then like your body, it's, as I said, it's not like you're sore, because it's not particularly difficult climbing, but there's this internal soreness that can only be described as like a mixture of like extreme fatigue, a lack of oxygen.
It's just like an inability to access your strength as well.
That's the other big thing as well.
That's the biggest thing for me at altitude.
Very well said.
One of the things that I really don't enjoy about mountaineering and high altitude trekking is that you just can't access your fitness.
Yes.
And I'm very hiking fit most of the time.
You are, yeah.
Just because I'm a through hiker that doesn't, do long distance at altitude a lot of the times, and so I just have this strength and endurance to be able to go all day. But when you're at altitude, you just can't access it.
Yes.
You don't have the ability to use that fitness, and that's one thing I found out on the summer day of Kili as well. Like we were going so slow, like you said, it was just one step, couple of big breaths. We're just like marching in a line. As,
no one saying anything to anyone. I think there was multiple times where just like, because when you're like reduced down to that, like there was a few times where like I'd literally just start crying and have this like emotional wave like just go through my body. I'd like shed a few tears, and then I'd have this like internal power up that came off the back of that would get me up the next like 100 meters of like elevation gain, and then I'd have like another bit of a breakdown. Like it just strips you bare. But actually, what you just said before, like you put that so well, an inability to access your strength. It's almost like mental strength is not enough because you can't even access your mental strength, because like whatever part of your body that can access your mental strength is almost like cut off by the lack of oxygen. But it was the first time I remember. I felt it on Mount Kenya when I was like 15 back in the day, but it was the first time that I realized that there's something a lot deeper than mental strength, and that's just like the strength of spirit and the strength of soul and like the strength of the human spirit. And you basically have to keep climbing with that. And that strength, when I kind of discovered it, I was like, oh, this doesn't run out. Like this is just like this untapped universal resource that when you strip yourself all the way back down to like complete bare bones, you can't even access your mental strength. You've got this like beautiful spirit that is just undying. And if you can just tap into that, from there it was just like one foot in front of the other, bang, 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 all the way to the top. Like it was still painful, it was still cold, it was still brutal. But like the second I realized that there was that layer underneath the mental strength that we all rely on in like every other kind of endurance pursuit or business pursuit or life pursuit, but there is a level that's like below that or above that, however you want to look at it, that is just it just never dies.
I feel like I've never really put that into words, but I feel like I've accessed that before as well.
Yeah.
Where it's like my physical strength has run out, my mental strength is just failing, which it isn't always the strongest at the best of times. But then there's this next layer.
There's a next layer
where you're doing something that you're so passionate about that fulfills you and brings you purpose that you can just access this spiritual strength almost to just drag you up.
Yeah, and and it weirdly never actually like, and there's been a few other times like even in the Himalayas where we went from like the Three Passes trek to Lobuche to Island Peak to Amadablam, like back to back to back, which is like a lot of people will do one of those expeditions. We try to do all three. I mean, obviously the only person that actually summited Amadablam was Koei, because he's just an absolute freak of nature. But like even throughout that whole time, I was just like, because I experienced it on Kili, I could tap into that like the strength of spirit. It was almost like unlocking a superpower, going like, oh, like we all actually have superpowers.
Yeah, I feel like that sort of strength of spirit that you're talking about is almost contagious as well. Like if you're in a group of guys and someone taps into that, and kind of like rallies, it's almost like it kind of rubs off on people.
100%.
I feel like that happened on Kili as well. Like we all had moments where I didn't think I was going to make it to the top. I felt so terrible on summit day. But seeing all of you guys just put one foot in front of the other, there was tears, there was groans, there was grunts. And
you had a massive throw up at the summit as well.
I was puking my guts up. Like I had serious altitude sickness. It wasn't fun. But, just being a part of a group that was just going to get to the top no matter what, and we had that sort of camaraderie, it was like contagious. Like it almost rubbed off on each other. And we made it to Stellar Point as the sun rose, which is like the high point before you reach Uhuru, which is the summit of Kili. And that was pretty powerful. Your dad had to climb to Stellar Point, right?
Yeah.
When he was younger as well.
Yes,
so that would have felt pretty special. You and Kush getting up there.
It was amazing, and I think we actually we took a bunch of videos and like we obviously sent it to the fam as soon as we got some reception and that kind of thing. It was really special. Yeah, when Dad did it, obviously back in it would have been in the 80s. He had like a heavy canvas pack that got like heavier when it rained, and they took all they were fully self-supported. They took all their own food, took all their own everything. Like had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah,
like,
we should probably mention we had like a team of porters and guides helping us get up to the summit of Kili.
It was still a struggle.
Yeah.
Whereas like they were just raw dogging it back in the day like crazy. Got to Stellar Point, I think, because one of my dad's friends actually had really bad like death-defying altitude sickness, so they had to like all kind of rush down. But still, kind of getting to Stellar, I really want to try and get him him back onto Kili to actually just kind of finish the job that he couldn't finish back in the day. But maybe that's going to be like a father-son expedition for the future. But yeah, getting to Stella Point was such a good milestone. And first of all, anyone that's considering climbing Kilimanjaro, like 100% do it. It is the best introduction to altitude you could ever have.
Yeah.
And it's also such a beautiful culture, such a friendly way of doing it. And it is, aside from summit day, it is just good times 24/7, 365. Like it's just
summer days, it's type 2 fun.
Yeah, and getting close towards Uhuru Point, probably even type 3 as well.
Type 3 fun, yeah.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh my God, get me off this mountain. But yeah, then like the slow slog from Stella Point to Uhuru was just, again, it was a bit more kind of flat and like gradual ascension after that.
We had light, yeah.
Yeah, and we had a bit of light, which was nice, but it was still just like, just fighting through the fatigue and the altitude and the pain and that kind of thing. And then, yeah, the summit moment was glorious. And like with everything, the second you get to the summit, once again, there's this second surge of energy that came through. We're all just like yelling and like celebrating and like getting the photos and like, having a good time with the potatoes and that kind of thing. That's a story for another time. But, we had that amazing surge of energy. And I think the struggle and the fact that, as you said, we're all together and we conquer that together, we lent on each other's strength, made it like just such a special way to bond with just like such an epic group of like humans that we kind of brought together at the last minute. Like the group hugs at the summit, man, were just some of the most special moments. Yeah.
I, to this day, have never felt worse as far as just nausea, pain, fatigue, struggle than I did at Uhuru Peak.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was one of the most euphoric, incredible feelings of my life as well. Like you said, just embracing the guys after 7 days of just, struggling up this mountain, making it to the top, despite thinking I wasn't going to. It was the weirdest mixture of like, euphoria and
struggle.
Terrible feeling.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And for me, it was like type 2 fun, but also in that moment, I was just like so happy.
Yeah.
Singing the song, like, what's the song called again?
Jambo
Bana. Yeah, singing that with the boys at the summit and just like taking photos with each other and the potatoes was special.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super cool.
And I think that
was your 30th birthday.
Yeah, and I mean, literally on that day, the descent after, like, I would say, I mean, the summit's pretty tough, but actually what's just as tough, if not tougher, is you've got the biggest descent that day as well.
2,000 meters.
Yeah, so
more
that,
maybe.
I think from the time you leave camp to reach the summit to the time you get down to the low camp, it's a good 16 to 18 hours. So it's a big day.
And when we returned from the summit down to our high camp, which is like the first 1,000 meters of descent, it was snowing there as well.
Yeah.
That was I remember we got into our tents, we had like an hour break before we continued the descent down to low camp, and it started snowing, and I was just like puking in my tent, like out the buddy side. I think I don't know if I was sharing a tent with Lockie or Coey or something, but it wasn't pretty. And then it was just like the long slog down. And I remember passing, like on the way down from high camp, passing by all the carts that they would take people down on that have really bad altitude sickness. Like people like do die on Kili and like struggle a lot. So it's like kind of like pretty surreal. But the cure to feeling bad is just going down as fast as possible. And that's
exactly,
what we pretty
just
much
descend
for the rest of that day.
100%.
And it was your 30th birthday, and our porters like had hiked up a birthday cake for you.
Yeah,
so
birthday cake and a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, so we're halfway down the mountain. They had hiked up a cake and some booze. Yeah, halfway up, and we had a good party that night.
That was wild. And once again, it was just like after 18 hours of just slogging it out. Like we found that last little bit of strength for just like an epic party, and I was just like, that was the greatest birthday of all time. It was so good.
Yeah, for those who are considering climbing Kili, like Hursh said, like do it. It's an incredible experience. Like, and go with people that you love, because it was just such a bonding experience for us. But I remember just like that night at celebrating it all, we had such a good bond with the porters and the guides as well.
Yeah,
like they all joined in. We were dancing, we were eating cake. Like you're
still connected with them on Instagram, still chat like quite often. Like we've referred to a bunch of clients and that kind of thing as well. Like we
have all these like running jokes as well from that trip. Like, it's a special experience.
Yeah, it really was. And I'll say, like, we literally met a month or two before we went to Kili, and I'd only actually known Lockie for a couple months as well. We all just left like best mates like after that, and then like I mean everything that we've created since then with the crew,
it's crazy
that we went is just like that was really the thing that kicked it all off.
did I know anyone from that group for more than a month or two? No.
No.
Because I'd met Lockie very recently. I guess I'd known Lockie for like a year or so. We just met on Instagram and started doing some hikes together. I met you like a couple months before, and then I met
You met Kush, everyone
and
on
Dill,
Kili.
like on Kili, like when I got to Tanzania, and
Yeah.
Arshay.
Yeah.
Like it was just all fresh, and now like we're good mates with everyone. Like
Yeah.
Lockie's in the office behind me as we're recording in the. For those who aren't watching the video, we're recording in our office. Lockie's in that office. Arshay's in that office.
Yeah. And we're just sitting right here.
We're sitting right here. I had Coey on my podcast a couple months ago. Like
Yeah.
you guys probably would have heard him talk a bit about Kili as well. Yeah, it's crazy how life kind of turns out. And as soon as we got back to Perth, we just like, what's next? We loved it so much. We're like, well, we should go to where the real mountains are.
Yeah,
the
I think.
Himalaya.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it so much, but it really is like the gateway into mountaineering,
Yeah.
and the first, I guess, the first real amazing altitude experience, and then from there, it's like when you do that, you feel like everything else is kind of like attainable and sort of like achievable. It's almost like the mountain that everyone should do.
It's a perfect stepping stone.
It's a perfect stepping stone,
And it's one of the 7 summits. Like
Yeah.
it is the tallest mountain on the African continent. So it's like a super, super cool and significant mountain as well. So
Yeah.
starting with that, if you have aspirations to go to altitude and climb big mountains, it's couldn't be more perfect.
Yeah, 100%. And then, obviously from there, later on that year, 10 months later,
Yeah, literally.
we were in the Himalayas for
2023.
35 days.
Yeah.
So it just ascended so quickly. That was a funny story as well, like in terms of how we wanted to take things to the next level. So obviously we looked up like, where's the next mountain? And the next logical step after doing Kili is like Aconcagua, because it's basically just like almost Kili on steroids, basically,
Which is the
right?
tallest mountain in South America.
In South America. But we just had this idea of going to the Himalayas. We did a bunch of research. And I don't know how we settled on... I still, to this day, have no idea how we settled on Amadablam, because it is just such a far stretch.
I think we were too overconfident after doing Kili. It's
like-
all our
yeah,
egos.
yeah.
I was just like always keen to come along, but I think like between you and Lockie, it was just like
I'm gonna put this one on Lockie, because
Yeah,
Lockie
Lockie.
is one of the most capable adventurers I've ever met.
Yeah.
And he just like loves setting just like massive goals and massive challenges. So I got swept up in that hype, but that was a good lesson as well. We just set such a ridiculous goal that it actually leveled up our mountaineering way faster than if we tried to stair step it towards that, which I think was a good lesson.
Yeah, so Aconcagua, for those who don't know, is like a 7,000 meter peak, or just under, is it?
Yeah, just under
Just under
7,000.
7,000, so a good step above the height of Kili, and slightly more technical. It's one of the most technical climbs, in the Khumbu region in the Himalaya. Often more technical than parts of Everest. And
Wait, so I think you're talking about Amadablam.
sorry, what did I say?
You said Aconcagua.
No, Aconcagua. Sorry, Amadablam.
Yes.
Amadablam. Sorry, not Aconcagua. So
It's
this
a
is
touch under 7,000, and it's just... It's
highly
like
technical.
Yeah, it's more technical than Everest.
Yeah, so when we say we're being a little ambitious, we probably
Don't know
were.
what we're doing, but
But yeah, what was the Himalayas for you like? Because I know you had a real connection to those mountains.
yeah, that was like, so Himalayas was just, it was something else. I mean, that whole region is just like, there's a magic in the air that you can just like, you can just smell it, you can feel and you can sense it kind of everywhere. And like every mountain, like me and Coy talked about this like a lot. It's like every mountain just had a different personality. Like you could almost like, you could feel the personality. You could almost interact with it and like talk to it and like have your own jokes with every mountain, because it had like a different essence, a different personality. And it was like just so crazy unique. But it was definitely like a huge step up from Kilimanjaro.
Yeah. I mean, even the two smaller mountaineering peaks that we did, Labosha East and Island Peak, were a big step up from Kili.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're on rope, you're in a harness.
Yeah.
You've got ice axe, you've got crampons. It's like, this is technical
You
climbing.
need to understand your rope work. There's no real set paths like either as well. It's kind of just like, there's a bit of guidance where the ropes basically are, but it's certainly not like Kili in any way, shape or form where there's like a cut path. But I think the course that we did a few months after Kili over east in the Guthaga region with climbing the 7 summits, that was just such good preparation just for the basics of like mountaineering and like, even just the basics of just like navigating around like a snowfield campsite.
Yeah, this
and
is in
all the
Australia,
rules.
by the way, because a lot of my listeners don't realise that, a lot of people don't realise that Australia has like proper snow and proper like, we have the Aussie Alps. So we did mountaineering training in the Australian Alps, which is really cool. And there's like, ski resorts everywhere and that kind of stuff. Yeah, people just see Australia as like there's no snow doesn't exist and it's super
Yeah.
flat. But we have a couple of mountain ranges.
There's a
where
couple of little
snow,
spots, yeah.
so we're able to get some good technical training in here with climbing the Seven Summits, like you said, which prepared us a lot for the Himalaya.
Yeah, that was really good. But I think just getting over there and just experiencing it for the first time, because the Himalayas is that region that I feel like everyone, it's like in the same way that everyone knows Taylor Swift, like everyone knows Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Like if you ask like anyone that has never even thought about like going on a hike in their entire life, like what Mount Everest is, like everyone knows what Mount Everest is. So just the universal presence of that mountain is enough to bring that region just like such an amount of awareness and just like sheer energy. And every big mountain documentary ends up in the Himalayas. You know, every story that was how I actually kind of first reconnected with my love for the mountains after not doing it for a long time since Mount Kenya, was actually in early 2021, before I even did the first section of the bib track that like kind of reignited the passion for it. Was I read Nimsdai's book, Beyond Possible. And that was just a recommendation from one of my cousins to my mum. And then we were on a family road trip before my brother went over east for work. And we just chucked it on in the car. And I just came back with this just insane like obsession around the big mountains after listening to that crazy, crazy, crazy story. And that's kind of basically what sort of kicked it all off. And, you know, every mountain documentary that I watched like since then was all like around the Himalayas. And, you know, there's just like, every peak is just so legendary. And again, that was another crazy full circle moment, because at the end of our Himalayan expedition, I didn't even know how it all came about, but yeah, ended up skydiving over the Himalayas with Nims.
With Nimsdai.
Which is just...
Nimsdai is like the most famous mountaineer in the world.
Yeah.
Nepalese mountaineer who's just done some ridiculous stuff. You might have seen the 10 Peaks documentary on...
14
Peaks documentary on Netflix, which was based on that book, right, that
Yeah.
you read.
Yeah.
And you're just such a testament to like following the energy and following the universe wherever it guides you, because somehow the book that you read that inspired you to get back outside and climb all these big mountains led you to literally skydiving with the guy who wrote the book and did all those things. And then we went out and like had drinks with Nims in Kathmandu as well.
Yeah.
Like we got back to the city and it's just like... How did that happen?
Yeah, that was just crazy. Well, it was funny. I was like, maybe I should just keep DMing more people on like Instagram that like, you know, like I truly just like I love what they're about, because I think I sent you a couple of messages when we were on the bib track and now we're sitting here.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how that started. After I read Nims's book, I sent him a message on Instagram, because it got me kind of back into... I remember after we read the book, I was so inspired that me and Ashay, we got a few guys together and we're like, let's try and summit all 6 mountains in the Stirling Ranges, which is our mountain range, which is a small mountain range here in Western Australia. But there's like 6 peaks that you can sort of climb. We're like, let's try and do all of those within like one day, and just kind of see how we go. Like, set ourselves a challenge. So we got up 4. We didn't quite get up 6, but then at the end of the 4th one...
Which 4 did you do? I can't remember.
So we did Mount Trio, Mount Hassel, Mount Toorbanup, and Bluff Knoll.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got that done in a day, and then on the very last one, it was Mount Trio at sunset. I was like holding a photo of like the book, and I just took a photo of like, you know, me with the book at the summit, being like, yep, set this epic challenge. I tagged Nims, and I just sent him a thing saying like looking forward to like climbing or standing on top of the world with you one day. And then literally less than 3 years later, not only was it like on top, but it was like above the top of the world, like, you know, adjacent to like Everest and Lhotse and all these different mountains, and like skydiving out of the heli with him. And I was just like, you can't write these full circle moments into your life, but if you just live believing that anything is possible, and just chasing everything you want with just like authenticity and that energy, then like the universe just writes the script better than you could ever do it yourself. Yeah. Like
it's crazy because people get put into your life for certain purposes that you don't even know at the time. But like, you know, we went on this expedition in Nepal with Lockie, who we also went to Kili with, and then Alec, a friend of Lockie's, and they're both skydivers.
Yeah.
You know, pretty serious skydivers. I mean, Alec is a base jumper now. He's a freaking crazy man. But through that is how we sort of connected with the skydiving. Nims was pioneering in the Himalaya, and it's just like things just fall into place in ways that you literally couldn't plan or imagine or dream up. It just happens.
And it was even just like, so, you know, we all pushed past Camp 2 on summit day on Amadabalam. Koei made it to the summit. We all like fell short of the summit by certain amounts, like on the way. But it was even just that, and then getting back to Namche from Amadabalam base camp, and the way that timings basically work, because the day that Nims was doing the drop zone with his entire Skydive Nimsdai crew was like, it was one day at one time. And if we didn't get back to Namche by that one day and that one time, we would have missed out on that opportunity. But it just so happened that the way it kind of all worked out, it's like, we got back down to Abu Dhabi base camp. We were just like, yep, we're sweet. We're good to just like start descending like back towards Namche like from tomorrow. And the way we just speed ran all the way back to Namche just like made the timings kind of work out. And it all literally came together at the very last moment.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy expedition. I mean, we successfully summited Le Boucher East and Island Peak. Incredible, very challenging mountains.
Yeah.
You know, I was terrified and in awe all at the same time on those peaks. I mean, I remember standing at the top of Island Peak and like we were 6,200 meters above sea level. Like that is very high up. But just realizing that like Everest, which is in the same region of Island Peak, was like another couple kilometers higher than that even. It was just like this moment of like, wow, I'm tiny.
Yeah.
And we are in this world in general is just so big and vast, and there's just so much to see, and those mountains are just so awe-inspiring. And while I didn't make it very far up Amadamlam, I had a bit of a knee issue, and so I didn't get up there. But even those first couple peaks that we got up it just kind of changes your perspective on the world.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
And also, like, from, you know, the view from Island Peak was just
ridiculous.
Like, it was the best view of my entire life.
Because we didn't have much of a view on Le Boucher East, which was our first peak that we summited.
Because of cloud,
It was clouded over, and then Island was just the clearest day ever.
Yeah, and you could just see
everything
surrounded. Like it was a 360 view of like the greatest mountain range on the planet.
Yeah, just magic. And then, I guess coming down from Amadablam and towards Namche, towards the end of our expedition, is where the idea for Optiventure was kind of born.
Yeah,
that's where it all began. You know, tell us a bit about that story, because obviously we're building a buddy company today in the outdoor adventure space.
Yeah.
You've been building companies since you were 18 years old, pretty much. I definitely haven't, but talk about full circle moments. Like we just happened to be on the same trail on the Bibbulmun track in 2021. We met, we summited Kili, and now here we are.
Yeah. Like the first business that I basically started when I was still at university was like a marketing agency, like specializing in like, trades-based businesses and builders and that kind of thing. And I've been running that for 8-9 years, and had an amazing time kind of doing it, and built it pretty successfully, and it was going really well. But there was just, I think, because I'm still super young in my career, I was just kind of craving something more, and I really I was inspired by a couple of podcasts that I listened to. I really wanted to build like an e-commerce brand, or like something that we could impact the whole world with. But I just had no idea what it basically was, and I remember setting a bit of an intention around middle of 2023, a few months before we even left for the Himalayas, and I was just the vision for what we want to build will come to us, or will come to me in at the right moment at the right time. And it was just on the way down from Amadablam was when that moment kind of happened, because we were discussing everything to do with nutrition and supplementation, and how to stop getting sick, and gut issues and all these different kinds of things. And I've been into supplementation and I guess holistic health and performance and that sort of stuff for a long time. So I just tried so many different things under the sun. I brought so many different supplements to the Himalayas as well, which I'm super grateful that
I thought I brought a lot. I had 4 or 5 different capsules. You had this whole cabinet.
Yeah, basically a whole
pills.
shop. Yeah, a health food shop. But super glad that I did, because it was one of those things where we saw, I can't even begin to say how many people were just cooked at the tea houses with the Kumbu cough, a flu, gut issues, diarrhea, just extreme fatigue, altitude sickness, everything. And I'm just really glad that we took our supplementation and micronutrition super seriously on that expedition, because I think it had a massive impact. But it was also just such a pain in the ass to manage. It was just so hard, because the last thing you want to do is thinking about and managing different capsules, different pills, different timings, different doses.
It goes through pretty much any expedition, because you're fatigued at the best of times on through hiking trails and mountaineering expeditions. But when you're at altitude in the mountains, it's how do you even manage all these timings and pills and stuff? Yeah,
but they're obviously super important. And the proof was in the pudding, because I was fatigued and stuff, but from a health perspective and a performance perspective, I was sweet the whole time.
Yeah.
And then basically, it was just on the way down, we were having a chat, and then I think I just said something surely something exists that is like built for this sort of stuff that like is just really simple and kind of like all in one. And then like I just remember as I sort of said that, it was like this weird thing where like, you know, when you have just like visions, and like it's like my brain or like my soul or whatever like left my body and came back in like a flash, in like an instant. And I mean, obviously it's so easy to kind of be in that present beautiful space and like the clarity of like the crisp Himalayan air kind of thing, and it just came back like bang. And it's like I just saw the whole future. It was like I just saw all of this sort of stuff like kind of coming about in like one moment, and then like I just like said it out of my mouth, like, you know, we should create something, or like, you know, why doesn't anything exist that there's like an all-in-one, something like that. And like you, like it instantly resonated with you like straight away, and we just started talking about it like basically straight away.
Surely this exists.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
We soon found out it bloody didn't.
Yeah, it didn't. And then, you know, it was so good that we got back to Kathmandu with like 4 days to spare, because like everything that we talked about in Kathmandu for the last 4 days was like, how do we get back to Perth and like start building this and start making this? And we just did so much research to try and like figure out, does this exist? Does this exist? Does this exist? Didn't exist. And then we almost got back to work like a week after getting back home.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, now we're here today, and like, you know, we've just launched version 2, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
And on the theme of full circle moments, like, you know, we've recorded this a week after we've launched. The launch of V2 went really well, which is, you know, super grateful for that. And I just emailed every single customer that we got on the launch week, just asking them like, you know, like, what's the adventure? Like, what are you using it for? And the number of people that replied to us saying, we're going to the Himalayas or Everest Base Camp, or, you know, going to Nepal, and we thought it was like perfect because of this, and this. It's just like, that is a full circle moment if there ever was one, because we literally created it for that exact purpose. And the fact that people are taking it for that exact purpose there, something that we wish we had, is just super cool.
Yeah. And it's a very similar thing as well. Like we created the version 1 of our all-in-one sup, pretty soon after getting back from the Himalayas. Like it was, you know, we worked really hard on it for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
I had been planning to walk the Pacific Crest Trail, which would have been my biggest adventure at the time. And a day before I left for the Pacific Crest Trail, our manufacturing run of the version 1 of the sup completed.
Yeah.
And
it was like the first small the trial manufacturing run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was like that morning, and then I flew out that night or something. And so I had it for the Pacific Crest Trail, which was awesome. I feel like it changed the game for me on that trail. I made it to the end without any injuries, any sickness. It's kind of overpowered. It was crazy how much it helped. But, you know, this year now, seeing a lot of people go out onto the Pacific Crest Trail the season after me, using our supplement, and, you know, giving us great 5-star reviews and so much good feedback. That was the coolest thing ever for me. It's like this was tested on the PCT, and now people are out there in the real world that aren't me or you using it. And we've told the story of Optiventure a few times on our Instagram and stuff, but it's kind of cool to share it in a bit more depth.
I think especially with all the background context of like how the whole thing kind of came about as well.
Yeah.
Because there is like, I mean, while I sort of was like not so much looking for an idea, I was like, oh, the idea will come for the next thing to kind of build. It was just, this was, again, so unplanned, like so, and so weirdly niche as well.
Yeah. It was very unplanned for us to work together on a business as well. Like I'm the furthest thing from an entrepreneur or operations manager or all this kind of stuff. So it's like kind of a great partnership in the way that you live for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You live for building businesses and working out all the details and providing insane customer support. And I just love getting out on the trails and making videos. And so it's like, it's worked out so well.
The synergies, it's perfect. It's like, we often joke that like your ideal life is like 40 weeks out in the mountains or out on trails, and like 12 weeks like in the office. And like my dream life is 40 weeks in the office and 12 weeks like out in the mountains.
Yeah, and that's not a joke. That's legitimately,
that's 100%.
Like you just thrive by, like just grinding and making businesses. But what was the process we went through after getting back from the Himalayas to turn this into reality? Like you obviously had experience building a company before, but not necessarily like creating a product from scratch.
Yeah, that was it's just been an incredible learning journey just this entire time.
Because that was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was 2 years ago.
It was sort of like November, December 2023. So we're coming up to 2 years now. So I think it was just one of those, again, a principle that I've always like sort of lived by is like, if you truly want to do something like for the right reasons, like just start moving in the direction of that goal, and all the information and all the people and all the things that you need will come to you at the perfect times, like to achieve that. So the very first thing we did was we're like, okay, we want to make this supplement. None of us has got like any experience in it. We want to do it in the most legitimate, like trustworthy kind of way possible, because like the supplement industry is obviously it is like the wild west of just the craziest, dodgiest stuff. And there's just so many horror stories of like supplements that are just don't do what they say on the tin and are pixie dusted and like all these different kinds of things that are just.
I think one of the keys for us is like we wanted to create something for ourselves.
100%.
So we weren't going to cut any corners.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I was the first person to ever use it on the Pacific Crest bloody trail.
Yeah.
It's like we wanted to do this the right way.
I think that was, you were the crash test dummy on the biggest adventure of your life. And it was like, well, it is potentially very risky, but like you really stood by it and just completely backed it. Because look, we did obviously the absolute best that we could to formulate V1 in the most legit way possible. So as soon as we got back, the first thing was just like essentially looking up manufacturers, because we didn't know really what the process was like to kind of create one. So there's a couple of guys, Josh and Jared in Perth, that ran a company called CYOS, which is create your own supplement. So cool, that's a great place to start. Had a conversation with them, and then obviously we learned about all the different steps in terms of like the research, the formulation, the nutrient conflicts, the supplementation, formulation science, like all these different kinds of things. And we just worked on that first one primarily with a series of like different contractors. So like food scientists, dietitian, Josh and Jared on the supplementation sort of science side of things as well. Manufactured it with Barry here in Perth in like a TGA, like, medicine listed like facility to make sure it was all like as legit as possible. But the things that we just like came across, even all the little 1%ers in terms of like, 1 gram of powder or 1,000 milligrams of powder doesn't just take up a milliliter of space in a capsule. It all depends on the powder density and then like the elemental dosage versus the actual dosage of the nutrient.
And mixing different, because it's an all-in-one, there's a lot of ingredients that work.
So many things
mixing
to
different
balance.
powder densities and
and even just different nutrient conflicts and timings and all these different kinds of things.
Yeah, it was a lot more complex than we probably thought.
100%. And like, and I mean, obviously working with Jess, like on just, Jess is basically like a head of nutrition and science at Optiventure, basically. Just to make sure that, because she obviously knew exactly what she was doing from like the food science and the nutrition, like the nutrition perspective. That was huge. But so we got that version 1 done. Obviously the capsules were massive, didn't taste the best, but it was effective and it did exactly what it said. And it helped hundreds of people on their adventures, which was epic. And then again with version 2 is like we just took that to a whole new level, moved manufacturing to the USA, to like an incredible manufacturer that's been so good to work with. Had Jess and Kirsty from Cultured Wellness, who's like not only like one of Australia's like best gut health specialists, but also like a massive seasoned outdoor adventurer as well.
That was key for us, hey, because we're obviously pretty seasoned adventurers. We wanted our team to be people that knew the trails, knew adventure, and knew what hikers and mountaineers actually needed on the trail. So 100%. Like Jess Barlow, who is our head of nutrition, is she runs her own business, the Hikers Nutritionist. She does this for a living, and she's an avid hiker herself. And everyone we work with sort of like is involved in the outdoor space in some way.
And that was so important, because we're just like, if people are formulating for a very niche, very specific product, they have to live and breathe the lifestyle as well. So obviously Hannah on the supplement science and she's a nutritionist and she's a multi-day adventurer, and she knew how to get all the best nutrients and the ingredients on behalf of the manufacturer and that kind of thing, which is amazing. You've got Kirsty, who's like climbed big mountains, done heaps of through hikes. Hiking guide, and like a clinical gut health specialist. And then like Jess, who's like the hiker's nutritionist that has literally helped like dozens of people prepare for the biggest hikes of their entire lives from a nutrition and food perspective.
And then Hursh and Cam.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're like the bottom of the reverse pyramid in terms of just like we're just a couple of guys, but like
we're a couple of great crash test dummies.
Yeah, exactly.
How to hike, film, or build a business.
100%.
It's literally the perfect team.
Yeah. So it was. I think having that people that live and breathe it it just gives it such a unique perspective, because I know there's no one that can create this with the level of accuracy and legitimacy and like, I guess what I'm trying to say, like very specific to the use case scenario that we can, because the perspective that everyone brings is so like expertly on just this.
The intricacy of Optiventure Core, our second version, it's very hard to even explain. This is 2 years in the making with an insanely qualified team. Like you can't even like communicate it on a website or on an Instagram post.
Yeah, and that's
the level of detail that's been put into it.
Well, that's something that we have to obviously kind of work out as well to make sure that everyone kind of knows exactly what it is. But yeah, it's just the ultimate all-in-one solution. Like it replaces everything you need. It's super trail friendly, and it's like energy, immunity, gut health, recovery, sleep, inflammation, like everything that you need to manage. Like, and also I think the other big thing is like it like empowers all the detoxification pathways in your body because, you know, like while we always say, while nature and hiking and outdoor adventure is amazing for the soul, wreaks havoc on your body, and your food is just to have, like, you know, a non-perishable shelf-stable foods. It needs to be packed with things like preservatives and different sugars and different like random numbers that like, you know, like ingredients shouldn't be numbers, but like it's packed full of it because like it kind of has to be to a certain extent. And then every now and again you can get a really good freeze-dry meal, but they're $17 each, and you could probably only have one of those per day, and the rest of the day you're just like chomping on anything. Then when you get into trail towns, you're prioritizing like calorie density, so you're just like engorging yourself in like as many chicken palmies or macas or whatever as possible to like get those calories up. It's just
adventure diets are cooked, man.
Yeah,
and
so
you can put a lot of effort in to probably increase the nutrition profile of your adventure diet by like 20%, and it's just still so inadequate.
Yeah.
And that's what this solves. Like I remember in
Solves it
the
massively,
Himalaya,
yeah.
like most of my calories came from deep fried Snickers bars, like,
Yeah.
covered in pastry. And then
Yeah.
when I'm through hiking, it's just like a lot of ramen and rice, and you're just missing so much. And
There's so much you're
it's
missing.
literally night and day when you can complete that sort of micronutritional profile of your diet on trail.
And I think that's a lot of the time supplementation in like regular life, if you're not like pushing it like and training really hard for your adventures and that kind of thing, like, you know, you can actually put a lot of effort in and get it all through whole foods, which is obviously like the best way to go.
That's ideal.
Yeah, which is ideal. But when you're out there, isn't like you need this, you need something like this to keep you like performing at your healthiest and best that you possibly can. Because also the other thing is that it is the difference between a lot of the times like actually making it and like achieving your objective or not. Because the things that like ruin people's adventures is illness, injury, inflammation, burnout, not sleeping, like even the mental side of things as well. Like,
dude, I find it really like sad when people have to get off trail. Like I follow a lot of people on the Pacific Crest Trail because it's my favorite trail in the world, and so many people this season have had to get off early, and it's like this is the coolest, biggest adventure of their life, and they're getting off because of some small overuse injury or because they got sick or they just got burnt out. And a lot of these things are solved by more than micronutrition, like really getting good sleep and training well and easing into a hike. But also, if you had the proper diet and the proper nutrition on trail, it can fix all of these little things that end up taking you off and kind of cutting something short.
Yeah, massively. And I think that's the other thing with Optiventure is like, it's not just on the micronutrition sort of side of things, but it's all of your body's pathways to like heal itself as well. Mm-hmm. Like, so for example, we've got magnesium glycinate, tart cherry extract, apigenin, ashwagandha, all four of those working super synergistically to help you get the best night of sleep as possible.
Yeah.
And like sleep is your number one repair tool. Mm-hmm. Like if you have a really good sleep anywhere on the mountains, on trail, like anywhere, you just feel like $1 million the next day.
That's what I tell people. If you can prioritize sleep over everything and get 8, 9, 10 hours a night while through hiking, it's going to change the game. And that's why a big part of Optiventure Core is focusing the PM, the sunset supplement is focusing on getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
sleep
and
just
recovery.
A game changer.
Yeah, and like the inflammation side of things with the liposomal curcumin that we've got is just, and it's crazy that like Long Vita, the curcumin provider that we've basically got, literally did a study on Long Vita curcumin versus ibuprofen on like Appalachian trail hikers. Like back in 2021.
For inflammation.
Yeah, for inflammation, which is like just super cool. So it's like even that was, again, a little bit unplanned, but like very, very, very like situation specific, which is super cool.
If you could only like pick maybe 2 or 3 of the ingredients in Optiventure, or just 2 and 3 supplements in general that would be key to take out on an adventure, what would they be? Because I know, we're a premium product. It might not be accessible to everyone. Like if you could only pick like 1 or 2 things, what would be the keys?
I think like when it comes to big outdoor adventures, like I think a really good multivitamin actually like really helps. Like one that's like, there's a lot of like lots and lots, like usually anything from a pharmacy or a supermarket is just trash.
That's what I've learned over the last couple of years, especially spending a long time with you. Like going to Coles or Woolies, which are our big supermarkets here in Australia, and picking up just a supplement off the shelf. If you don't know like the specific sources of ingredients and the different
types and
some of them are
and
just
everything.
not absorbable, not
And it's full of like nutrient complex and that kind of thing. Yeah, so you want to get like a really good multivitamin. So the four that like, so actually, for full transparency, there's a bunch of people that couldn't actually get Optiventure Core in time for their adventures. So they were just like, well, what do I take? And the things that me and Jess would always email back with is really, really good multivitamin. Like, so you want to look for bioactive vitamins and what's called like chelated or chelated minerals, basically. Like a really good magnesium glycinate supplement for at night, because like magnesium is just so critical for everything. Helps you sleep really well. It's good for like 300 different processes in the body. Like magnesium is critical. Saccharomyces boulardii, which is like a specialized probiotic that it's like non-colonizing in your gut. But it just like really helps protect your gut lining, because everyone's microbiome is kind of like, and this is all the stuff we've learned from Kirsty, right? Like she's been amazing. Like everyone's gut microbiome is like quite unique. So it protects your gut lining such that like whatever you've currently got, like it protects it against like all the pathogens and the foreign bacteria and like all the new stimulus from like all these different new environments you're kind of going to, which will like help like stop you from getting things like traveler's diarrhea and gut sicknesses and that kind of thing. Or if you get it, because a lot of the time, if you eat some rancid like steak in the Himalayas, like nothing's going to protect you. You're just going to have to like shit your guts out basically to like get over it. But it'll help you recover way faster. Like rather than taking 3 or 4 days to recover from gut issues, you'll be like, done in like 1 or 2 at the very most kind of thing. And then the final one is like a really awesome liposomal curcumin. So like 300 to 800 milligrams of like liposomal curcumin like every single night is just so good for not just your inflammation levels, but really good for immunity, really good for your brain health as well, because like crosses the blood-brain barrier. Yeah, it will just help you recover and just be less inflamed. I mean, obviously honorable mentions like really good omega-3s as well. Iron for a lot of people is really important, especially when you go to high altitude. Like a good iron supplement is critical, because iron literally helps your body carry oxygen around your body essentially, which is like so critical for altitude. And when you're not eating red meat, which is very advisable in a lot of these regions, it's so hard to get like adequate iron intake. Actually, I'm just gonna keep listing off all the.
I know,
but we've got it. Literally, everything is in there.
Yeah.
Every single thing is in.
That's the thing with outdoor adventure, though. Sort of haven't mentioned is like it's such a specific sport almost. Like, there's nothing else in life that no other sport that you are participating in that you're outside in the elements for 12, 14 hours a day. Well, it's actually 24 hours a day, but you're moving and active for 12, 14 hours a day. You're in the sun, you're in the cold, you're at altitude. You don't get that if you're a marathon runner. You don't get that if you're a CrossFitter, if you're in the gym. And what we found is like through hikers and mountaineers have been borrowing solutions made for these other sports
100%.
for the longest time. It's not specifically built for what you're doing.
No.
And that's what Optiventure is. And like I asked for 2 or 3 and you listed off like 7 or 10.
And there's still more.
And there's still more. And that's why we have 32 ingredients in one simple system.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to turn this into an ad for Optiventure, but man, it's built for this. And if you guys have listened to the podcast for a while, I do a little ad read at the start of every episode talking about Optiventure. So if you want to get some, there won't be an ad read in this episode, but Life Outside for 10% off for my listeners. Go ahead and grab some. It's really exciting. I'm so proud of what we built. Now I just want to go out on another through hike so I can use version 2 on trail again.
Well, I'm definitely gonna at some stage between now and the end of October, I'm gonna do the Larapinta.
Yeah,
epic. And
I was going to ask what's next for you, because
definitely Larapinta. And then I'm getting married on January 3rd, 2026. So hopefully I can convince Megan to let us potentially do the Arthur's Traverse at the end of November. I'm on strict orders that I can't go anywhere in December, but as long as we get back by November 30th, then we should be sweet.
Respect to the wives who
100%.
have adventure husbands, and the vice versa situation. My wife is the best. Like she knows that being outside is sort of like what feeds my soul and what brings me joy, and it's also my job. And so she lets me go on these big missions, which is crazy. And your partner Megan is very gracious as well with letting you spend a lot of time at the office, but also head out on these crazy adventures.
Honestly, just like I think having it's funny, like overtraining. Like I think like the biggest adventure hack of all time is not even training or experience or supplementation or nutrition or anything. It's actually just having like a partner that like supports you and like believes in your dreams and like lets you do it. Like that is 100% the biggest adventure, quote unquote, hack of all time. Like above everything else.
Yeah, it's so true.
So yeah, shouts out Megan and Karis.
Shout out to the gals, absolute legend. What's your vision for Optiventure, for the future of the company, and for how we can help hikers in heaps of different facets?
Yeah, so this is, oh man, I think like with Optiventure, it's obviously you've got the products, but ultimately it's like to help hikers and mountaineers and outdoor adventurers like thrive on trail and reach their summits. It's something that we've talked about like a lot. So being able to thrive on trail is all about like not having to slog through like any adventure. It's like really being present and enjoying every single moment of it that you possibly can. And then reaching your personal summits is just like, it's not about mountain summits, or it's not just about like getting massive elevation gain or climbing the big mountains. It's like whatever's really important to you that's like a life summit that you're trying to basically achieve. It's just like empowering adventurers to achieve like their personal summits, whether that is a massive outdoor adventure, or whether that's a a climb, a career thing, moving to a new country, like whatever you want to actually do. It's empowering that. So the easiest way to do that for us for now is to make sure that like your health and performance is just like sorted in the easiest way possible, because like your health underpins everything, and without your foundational health and all the things that we've talked about, none of that is possible. So Optiventure Core is perfect as the first product kind of towards that mission. But I think that once again, because we've been borrowing solutions as outdoor adventurers from everywhere else for a long time, there's so many different nutritional products and so many different supplements that need to be done way better and way more effective for outdoor adventurers. So we've got a bunch planned that we're going to bring out over the next few years. We're obviously working on our Hikers and Outdoor Adventurers Electrolyte, which is a completely brand new game-changing formula. It's never been done before, which I'm super excited about.
It's a big thing a lot of people borrow from other sports.
Exactly, because I mean, look, the two most popular ones on the PCT or on any trail around the world is LMNT and Liquid IV, both of which were built for different people.
Yeah.
But then getting away from the product side of things, like the mission of like helping adventurers thrive on trail and reach their summits could literally be like anything. We've already done, 3 incredible guides on our website. One by Jess on nothing to do with, well, a little bit to do with supplementation, but mainly just like how to plan your adventure diets like really well to have the best impact for your adventures, and how to plan your macronutrition and how to plan your refuel, like your refueling stops and that kind of thing. So you can go to the website and get that. We've got a guide done and partnered up with Roland Smith from Summit Strength as well on how to train for your outdoor adventures, because like strength training and like fitness training is such a massive component. You've done your incredible guide on the 30 things now, or nearly, that like you wish you knew before your first kind of hike. We've got such an amazing guide coming out with Stevie Wonder from Mountain Beast Performance on like everything to do with like female outdoor adventure as well, and like how to prepare, how to train, like just to be like a badass adventure chick essentially. That's coming out soon. So it's I think what we can achieve over the next like 5 or 10 years is really kind of become not just the supplementation and nutrition company, but just the company that is just dedicated to helping outdoor adventurers have the best possible lives. And that could be from education, that can be from supplementation and nutrition, that can be from advocacy and sponsorships. Eventually, down the line, as we grow more, like would love to do like some awesome conservation stuff, or help rebuild trails, or even fund the building of new trails, or just there's so many different things. It's like hard to comprehend.
A big part of it is community as well. I think that's something we've been prioritizing over the last few months with our Facebook community base camp, and just trying to just get in touch with our community, our customers, and share adventures, share advice, outside of supplementation, which is, our product, but it's just sort of this holistic sort of approach to helping people just perform better on trail, happier on trail, all that kind of stuff. So
because the products are really kind of like the icing on the cake, whereas the foundation is community, health, wellness, fitness, preparation, and doing the right things for the right reasons as well. And like obviously, without the natural environment and without the trails and without the mountains being in all their glory, none of this would actually be possible as well. So it's like making sure that all these different adventure regions around the world stay incredible for outdoor adventure, and like, in their like natural purpose for like decades and decades and decades to come as well. So much. But the community's been freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've just loved it.
Yeah. I love that. You're talking about helping people reach their summits. What's your summit? Talking about adventure here, I know you have aspirations for some bigger mountains in your future back in the Himalaya.
Yeah.
What's the dream?
Yeah, so my ultimate dream is to summit Mount Kanchenjunga. That's the third highest mountain in the world, and it's also the most remote of all of the 14 peaks and the one with the least summits as well.
Where's that?
It's actually in Pakistan. So it's in the Himalayas, but it's in Pakistan, not in Nepal. There's like a 17-day trek just to get out to base camp, which is crazy. And then from there, obviously, like you're kind of just like living out there. But that is the most remote of the peaks. Like I don't have a time frame on that because I mean, obviously, that's just like you essentially need 12 weeks. It costs a hell of a lot of cash as well. But that would just be the ultimate, like I guess, adventuring crown jewel that is like my biggest dream that will happen at some stage in the next decade. Like I just know that. But before then. Yeah, I think going to the US next year and doing a couple of trails, the JMT and probably the Colorado Trail as well next year would be absolutely phenomenal. Doing the Larapinta in the next couple of months here. And then, heading back to the mountains probably at some stage towards the end of next year as well. Maybe do a couple of mountains in Europe. And it's just consistent. Like I feel like the next adventure will just always present itself. But I know that the end game, even though it's not going to end there, is going to be like Mount Kanchenjunga at some stage in the next decade.
Exciting, dude.
Yeah.
Bloody exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait. And then on the Optiventure side, it's just basically, it's just consistently building it for as much global impact as possible and just never stopping.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time with you at the office on adventures, and I feel like every single time I hang out with you, like you drop some piece of wisdom that just like changes my life. If you could share something with the listeners that would impact their life in the biggest way possible, what would it be?
Yeah, so the two principles that I think I've been living through for maybe the last sort of 4 years, and I just can't even like begin to comprehend just how epic everything's become, is like, everything is born of unity of heart and mind. So when your heart and your mind, so your soul and your mind are aligned on the exact same goal, it's like the whole universe just conspires to bring everything you want or you dream about to you, like as a force even outside of you. So whether you call it God, whether you call it the universe, it's like that whole energy kind of works in your favor. Like number one, I guess it's like, quote unquote manifesting. And the second one is when you know what you want to chase, just start walking in that direction, even if you don't know how to get there, because every single bit of knowledge and guidance that you need will come through at the right time, at the perfect time. So even with Optiventure, like we had no idea how to do any of this. And now we're selling in like 13 countries, like around the world, in like the space of like less than 2 years. It's just happened. And it's like everyone that we've partnered with, it's almost like even more keen to help us than we're keen to kind of get their help. Like, I mean, obviously we're super keen to get their help, but it's just like the amount of passion that everyone else has had for our dreams is nuts, because it's our dreams. We're so aligned on it and we're just moving towards that direction. So it's just those two things, like 100% start before you're ready. And it's not even that you don't have to have everything worked out. You have to have like literally nothing worked out. But if you know you want it, like, and you move towards that direction, everything conspires to bring it to you. It's just like that level of trust, not just in yourself, but in whatever higher powers there are. It's that.
Yeah, I've seen that play out in your life over and over again, of just like chasing what you feel like your soul and mind are calling you towards, and things just like coming in from left, right, and everywhere to make it into a reality. Yeah. That's powerful. Thanks, dude.
No worries, man.
And thanks for making the time to sit down. I mean, we're in our office, so you don't have to come far. You'd probably be in here anyway this morning on this
It is early on a Sunday morning,
But
know where you'd rather be, mate.
Thanks for making the
field
time.
Of dreams.
Bloody oath. We'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, thank you so much, dude.
Thanks.
It was, I mean, we have a billion different conversations, but this was really special.
Yeah, unreal. Yes. If you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure to follow the show wherever you're listening. Rate us 5 stars as well. Really appreciate all the support. It helps us grow and reach new audiences. And I'll catch you in the next one.
We love a 5-star review.
We love a 5-star review, whether you're an Optiventure customer or a Life Outside podcast listener. 5-star review, baby. See you guys.
Let's go.